Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our weekly discourse on the characters of Mahabharata. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarine. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone. So we are discussing the wonderful character of Bhishma Dev. So we'll take a quick review of what we discussed last time. So we discussed how this Mahabharata is such a wonderful piece of literature which is loved by everybody. That's why we should try to read Mahabharata and inculcate the qualities in our lives. So that's how we'll be able to live in harmony with the nature and with the universe. So we saw the life of Bhishma. So his father Shantanu, we saw the history of Shantanu, how he was a king called Mahabhisha, and he got attracted to Ganga Devi, and that's how he had to come to this earth. And then Ganga Devi, just to help the Vasus, she also came down and married Shantanu, and ultimately liberated all the seven Vasus. But the eighth Vasu, the eldest of all, Dev, he was supposed to live for the whole life on this earth. So that's how he was born. So Shantanu, he told Ganga Devi that you please take this son of yours and let him learn from all the great sages, rishis, teachers of heaven. Ganga Devi agreed and took this newly born son, and this son he learned from all the great sages, Markandeya, Rishi, Parshuram, Brihaspati, and he became a very, very powerful warrior, great learned personality. And then we also saw how Shantanu one day he got attracted to a lady called Satyavati, and ultimately, because the father of Satyavati he had a condition that he will marry his daughter to somebody who will make Satyavati the queen and the sons of Satyavati the prince regent. Shantanu he became very much sad when he heard this. He came back, and ultimately Bhishma, this by that time he was known as Devrata. Devrata he went and he took a fierce vow of celibacy throughout his life. He took a vow that I will not marry, and none of and I will always be the subordinate to the ruling king. I will always protect them. So that's how Devavrata became known as Bhishma. So this is what we discussed. So this Mahabharata is full of wonderful characters who has performed wonderful devotional service. They have lived very nicely in this world, setting right standards. So that is the difference between Mahabharata and Srimad Bhagavatam. So Mahabharata teaches us how to live in this world properly, and Srimad Bhagavatam is a literature which teaches us how to leave this world in right consciousness. Both are required. And actually, Mahabharata, the essence of Mahabharata is Bhagavad Gita, which also describes in little bit the details, the concept of how to live in this world, how to connect with God, and how to ultimately get liberated from this place. So it is described that whatever you find in whatever you want to know about dharma, artha, kama, about religious practices, about sense gratification, about uh, dharma and how to acquire money in this world, and also about liberation, how to get free from this bondage of material world. Everything is there in Mahabharata. So Vyasdev he writes that if you want to know anything about dharma, artha, Kama and moksha you will find in Mahabharata. If it is not in Mahabharata, you will not find anywhere else. That is a wonderful nature of this great scripture called Mahabharata. So therefore, this Bhishma, after he took a great vow, and the father of this Satyavati, he agreed for the marriage. Shantanu got married to Satyavati, and ultimately they had two sons, Vichitravirya and Chitrangada. So Chitrangada, he was a very, very formidable warrior, and he was such a glorious Kshatriya that his fame was spread all over the world, not just earth. Even heavenly denizens they knew about Chitrangada. But there was one Gandharva, also known as Chitrangada. When he heard the glories of the earthly Chitrangada, he became very much envious and he challenged Chitrangada for a fight. So, this envy is a very, very prominent emotion which is there everywhere. And in fact, our scriptures they say that this is actually unwanted thing. Just like we can see, even a Gandharva, a denizen of heaven, he also had envy. Envy means I cannot tolerate what you have. So if people they want to live a peaceful life, this envy is a very, very major obstacle which destroys the peace of mind. People are not satisfied when they see others flourishing. How to be free from this envy? You know, the scriptures tell again and again, by this choice of satisfaction, we can be free from this envy. We have to choose to be satisfied with what we have. We have to learn to appreciate others for what they have. That is the instruction which Narad Muni gave to Dhruva also. Narad Muni told, "O Dhruva, if you see somebody greater than you, just appreciate their great qualities. If you see somebody equal to you, try to make friends with them. If you see somebody inferior to you, just try to help them." This is how a person can live peacefully in this world. If people they want a peace, they want very much peaceful situation in the society, they have to understand that the scriptures they should be in the center of their life. As they say that people they want Ram Rajya without Ram. It is not possible. Till the time God is not there in the picture, till the time we learn to serve God, we cannot have a peaceful society. As it is described that when somebody has wealth, beauty, fame, power, well, and all the other opulences, if they are not humble enough, if they are not devoted to God, then it is but natural that they'll become proud. And if somebody becomes proud, then it is very short distance the person will become envious also. So therefore envy has to be minimized, and Srimad Bhagavatam and Mahabharata describes that the character of devotees or spiritualist is such that he is not at all envious. Yudhishthir Maharaj, he was called as Ajata Shatru. Ajata Shatru means he had no enemies. That means he did not consider anybody his enemy. Although there were many people who were envious of Yudhishthir Maharaj because of his name and fame, but personally speaking, Yudhishthir Maharaj he was non-envious. He was Ajata Shatru. So this Chitrangada, he became so very envious. He challenged the son of Shantanu, Chitrangada, for a fight. A fierce fight happened between them, and ultimately, unfortunately, Chitrangada, the son of Shantanu, was killed. So therefore, this when this Chitrangada was killed, now only Vichitravirya was remaining. So Vichitravirya, he had to become the king because Bhishma had taken a vow not to get married. So therefore, Vichitravirya was crowned as a king, as a prince. And in the meantime, when all this is happening, Shantanu, he departed from this world. So now Bhishma, being the elder brother, he had the responsibility to get his younger brother married. Now it is a very difficult responsibility because Bhishma, he was himself very young, powerful, virile, glorious. He had all the wonderful qualities. He was famous all over the world. And a personality like this, he had to arrange girl for his brother. So it was not a very normal situation. It was little bit awkward situation for Bhishma to go and get a girl for his brother. So Bhishma, nonetheless, because he had taken a vow that he will always be subordinate to the king, he will never become the king, he went to a Swayamvar where three princesses were there: Amba, Ambalika, and Ambika. And the Swayamvar was going on, and Bhishma, he fought with all the kings there, ultimately defeated all of them, and he won all the three princesses. And he was bringing all these princesses to his kingdom. One of the kings who fought very valiantly, ferociously with Bhishma was Shalya. Shalya, although he fought very valiantly, but ultimately Bhishma, he proved himself to be more powerful and defeated Shalya also. But it so happened that one of the princes, Amba, as they were returning to the kingdom, Amba told Bhishma that, I have given my heart already to Shalya. So now Bhishma was in moral dilemma because he didn't want Amba to forcibly marry Vichitravirya because Amba was already in love with Shalya. So Bhishma, he arranged for this Amba to return to Shalya. So this Amba went to Shalya, and Shalya, when he came to know that Amba has come, he actually disagreed to marry Amba because Shalya was a king at that time of that province. And he said, I am the king, and if I marry a girl who has already been taken away by somebody else, people, they will blame my character. They will question my character. And as a king, I should be very spotless in my character. So therefore, now you go back and you marry Vichitravirya only. So very despondently, Amba, she told that actually nothing has happened between me and Bhishma or anybody else. I am still pure, chaste. So Shalya, but he did not agree. Ultimately, Amba, with a very sad heart, she came back to Hastinapur. As all this is happening, Vichitravirya came to know that Amba she was already in love with Shalya. So he denied, he said, I cannot marry Amba. So Amba, when she came to know this, she became so very upset. She was completely devastated. She went to Bhishma. He said, you won my hand and you brought me here, and because of you, all this has happened. Now you have to marry me. Bhishma, he said, I have taken a vow of celibacy. I cannot marry you. I will honorably send you to your father. Amba, she said, how can I go back? You know, what face I'll show? I'll be utterly dishonored in my kingdom. I cannot go back. So, life, this is how life is. Life is sometimes so very complex. We are put in so much dilemma. We don't know what to do. So that is the situation of Amba. So what Amba did and how Bhishma responded, that is a very interesting, pastime which is going to unveil. And we can learn lots of lessons from this pastime. from this incident which has happened. So this Amba, she could not accept, she could not go back to the kingdom. So she decided, I'll go to the forest, I'll enter the forest. She went to the forest, she met some sages there. One of the sages was the grandfather of Amba. He had already given up his kingdom and he was doing tapasya in the forest. So when Amba came and met this sage and told everything, so this sage, he became very angry on Bhishma. He said, no, I will make all the arrangements, but you just wait for some time, because I cannot go now and fight with Bhishma or argue with Bhishma, because he is very very powerful personality. At the same time, he is very very learned. So therefore, please wait for Parshuram to come. Parshuram is about to come in few days. Please wait for him to come. And in few days, of course, because Parshuram was a teacher of Bhishma, so he was thinking maybe Parshuram can convince Bhishma to marry Amba. So in few days, Parshuram came and Amba, she told everything. Parshuram, he also became very much upset. But he said, actually, I have taken a vow, I will not lift a weapon. But because then one of the disciples of Parshuram, his name was Kritavarmam, he told, he requested Parshuram that please help this lady. She is in utter distress. And because this Kritavarma was a Brahmana, so Parshuram, he could not deny the request of this Brahmana. He went and he challenged Bhishma. He said, Bhishma, you have to marry this lady. You have forcibly put this lady into trouble. Now you have, it is your duty to take her out of this trouble. You have to marry her. Bhishma said, oh my master, you know that I have taken a vow of celibacy. I cannot marry. So this is a very much difficult situation for a Kshatriya. Bhishma, he had taken a vow not to marry, and now his spiritual master, he is telling that you have to marry this lady. There is third dilemma. As a Kshatriya, if a lady, if a woman approaches a Kshatriya cannot reject a woman. That is a code for a Kshatriya. That is a rule for a Kshatriya. So this is a conflict. There is an ethical conflict and there is a moral conflict. Moral conflict means to choose between right and wrong. Ethical conflict means to choose between two right things. Many times moral conflict is because of the weakness of heart, because we are not very strongly rooted in our scriptural understanding. We cannot choose right thing from the wrong. And if we make ourselves very very strong by regular reading of the scriptures, by hearing from the saintly devotees, saintly personalities, then this moral conflict can be destroyed. But this ethical conflict is much more difficult to resolve. To choose between two right things, there is a higher level of morality and a lower level of morality. So to choose the higher level from the lower, we have to be very much expert. And Bhishma, because he was such a learned personality, he could choose the higher morality. So somebody may question, though, why Bhishma is so very adamant, right? This is a question of a life. A lady's life is in trouble, danger. Why such a person like Bhishma is so adamant about following his vow of celibacy? You know, this is not such a great principle. Bhishma is such a responsible personality. He should not have behaved in this way. If he would have married Amba, you know, everything would have been normal. But we have to understand it is not just a question of the vow of celibacy. Bhishma, he was such a learned personality. He was thinking about the future, and he could see that if he gets married, then in future there will be conflict between the descendants. The sons of Bhishma and the sons of Vichitravirya, there'll be clash between them. And Bhishma, he had given his life for maintaining peace in the family. He wanted this Kuru dynasty to be flourishing, to be known as an exemplary dynasty. So therefore, Bhishma was not just sentimentally attached to his vow, he was very much careful about the name and fame of the dynasty. He was very much aware of the conflicts which may arise if he gets married. So therefore, the purpose was more important. So therefore, no one should have doubt why Bhishma was so very adamant in following his vow of celibacy. So he was thinking about his father's dynasty, and because his father he had given a vow, so he wanted the vow of his father to be followed. So therefore, again, we have to be very much careful not to offend a great personality like Bhishma, not to think that, oh, this person Bhishma is so very egoistic about following his vow. He's not caring about the life of a person. No, that is not the right way. We have to be really careful of the thought process. That is what we have to learn when we see and when we hear about the life of the personalities appearing in Mahabharata. We have to get in tune with the thought process of that character. That's when we will understand the scriptures nicely. That is what Krishna consciousness is all about. Krishna consciousness means we have to be conscious of how Krishna thinks, how the devotees of Krishna thinks. So therefore, this Bhishma, he wanted to avoid the conflict in the future. So therefore, he became very much, steady and strong that no, I don't want to marry. Parshuram said, okay, then you'll have to fight with me. Bhishma, although he was reluctant, but it was a question of his dynasty. So he said, okay. So he agreed for a fight. 27 days the fight was going on. Every day from morning to evening, Parshuram and Bhishma, they were fighting. And Bhishma, he was thinking, how will I defeat this greatest of the warriors, Parshuram? One day, as he was taking rest, at the night, he got a dream. In dream, the sages, some of the sages, they came and they reminded Bhishma. They said, oh Bhishma, you have this very, very powerful weapon with you. Please use this against Parshuram, and Parshuram won't be able to do anything. Next day morning, for sure, when Bhishma he invoked this weapon by chanting mantras, Parshuram he understood that now this is a will of Lord, I should not fight. He surrendered his weapons. This is very interesting. When we are really following the will of the Lord, when we are on the line of dharma, then great personalities, even Supreme Lord, is there to help us. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Tesham satati yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. So Krishna is saying, oh Arjuna, if somebody is really devoted to me, following the scriptures very nicely, serving Lord, if we have lived our life according to the principles, according to religion, according to the moral values, then for sure all these temporary problems will be gone in some time by the grace of God. That the problems are the testing times for a spiritualist. If our faith is not very strongly rooted, then we may give in to the problems. We may, resort to some deceptive means, some sinful ways. But Bhishma, he was very much strong in following the principles of dharma. So therefore, ultimately, he was victorious. So now, Parshuram, he gave blessings to Bhishma. He said, "Oh Bhishma, you will be victorious. Whatever you will do, you will gain victory." And then he went to Amba. Parshuram, he told Amba, "Amba, I have tried my best. I cannot do anything more now. Now you can decide what do you want to do." So now Bhishma had shown that how powerful and formidable warrior he was. So many times when in life twists and turns come, even when we are trying and we cannot succeed. There are problems in life. We are trying to come out of it, but we cannot succeed. Somebody is going through health problems, some economical crunch, some family problems, trying our best to come out of it, but somehow things are not working out. That time, how to deal with those problems? Ideal thing is, if we have tried our best, nothing is working out, then rather than wasting our time in just going again and again to solve that problem, just accept it and try to live with it. Accept it that, okay, this must be some of the actions which I've done in the past, and that's why I'm going through this problem. So let it go on its own. It is not becoming impractical. Just do the needful, but don't get depressed, don't get frustrated, because many times people, they land up doing wrong things. I want to come out of it anyways, so I don't care, even if I apply some wrong means. And that's what people, when such situations happen, people, they start blaming God also. People, they say, "Oh, why God is putting so many troubles in my life, duniya banane wale kya tere man mein samai," they are thinking, "Oh God, why have you made this world full of misery?" When people, they have such conception, they don't understand that God is not a cruel personality. Krishna is a very, very merciful personality. And he is not interested in putting troubles in the life of people. It is our own actions which are coming now. So therefore, there are two types of peace: peace of mind and peace of heart. Peace of mind, it is very, very difficult to achieve. And even if we achieve, it will not stay for long, because that is the situation of this world. We cannot remain peaceful always. Problems will come, miseries are unavoidable. But the peace of heart is achievable. Peace of heart is very much steady, because we know the purpose. Whatever is happening in my life, there must be a purpose behind it. And all the more when you are practicing spiritual life. A person, when he is connected to God, when he is connected to Krishna, Krishna takes the responsibility of his devotee. So this Amba, she could not she could not accept this situation. She said, "No, I want to, defeat and take revenge from Bhishma." Ideally, when problem comes, Even if we are trying our best, nothing's working out. Just like if there is some chronic problem, chronic health problem, we are trying our best, taking all the medicines, but nothing is working out. Rather than getting frustrated, keep doing the needful, but just accept it as the will of Lord and our past karma. We have to be grateful. We have to learn to tolerate. Tolerance is a basic principle of spiritual life. That is the first instruction which Krishna is giving to Arjuna. Tolerance. And then being grateful is very, very important. Actually, it is a foundation of spiritual life to be grateful. If somebody is humble enough, then he can become dependent on the mercy of God. He can appreciate the mercy of Krishna. And based on then that dependence, one can become grateful. So Amba, She didn't agree. She went and she started doing tapasya on the bank of Ganga. Ganga Devi appeared and she told, "Yes, oh my dear child, why are you doing such tapasya?" She said, "Oh Mother Ganga, I want a benediction so that I can take revenge from Bhishma." Ganga Devi also told this Amba. She said, "Please understand that this is because of some previous karma which you have done, and this is a very sinful desire. Please take this thought out of your mind." Amba, she didn't accept even the advice of Ganga Devi. She continued to do tapasya. She was doing tapasya to please Lord Shiva. Ultimately, Lord Shiva appeared, and Amba, she told, "I want to take revenge from Bhishma. I want to be the cause of death of Bhishma." Lord Shiva said, "Although this is not a good desire, but because you have worshipped me, okay, so be it." And therefore, ultimately, to take revenge from Bhishma, she gave up her body and she took birth as the child of Drupada. Her name was Shikhandini. A girl was born. Drupada, he was also doing tapasya to Lord Shiva to get a child, to get a son. And Lord Shiva had given benediction to Drupad that you will have a son, but a daughter was born. So they were confused that Lord Shiva's benediction can never go wrong. How is it that a daughter is born? So, anyways, they announced in the kingdom that a son is born. And they did not allow anybody to know that actually it was a daughter. And in due course of time, this Shikhandini grew up. And interestingly, Drupada married this Shikhandini to a prince, to a princess, sorry, of a nearby king. When this princess was married, she came to know that she is married to a girl. She became so very upset. She complained to her father. Father, he attacked the kingdom of Drupada. As all this thing is going on, Shikhandini, she becomes frustrated with all this. She goes to the forest and she starts doing tapasya. As she was there in the forest, there was a yaksha called Sthuna. So this Sthuna, he comes and he asks, "Why you are so very disturbed?" So Shikhandini, she tells the whole story. Sthuna, he was a nice yaksha. He said, "I'll help you. I will exchange my gender, and till the time you are there, I'll be in a female body and you can take the male body." So the Shikhandini now transformed into Shikhandi, a male, returned back to the kingdom. And when this uh, the lady who was married, this princess was married, she saw, "Oh, my husband, she's not a woman, he's a man." So she was happy, and then the whole thing was settled. Now Shikhandi, she was in a male body now known as Shikhandi. So this is very interesting, right? some of when people from outside they hear all this, a person giving his gender to the other personality, they may think, oh, all this is, such it is beyond our, mental conception. And that's why people, they question the scriptures. They say, how is this possible? But we have to understand, just like, even in today's times, people, they can change their genders by surgical operation. The residents, the higher planetary residents, they have higher powers, and they can change the genders also. So ultimately, Shikhandini, now Shikhandi, he knew that he was born to kill Bhishma, and Bhishma also knew that this Shikhandi, he is born to kill me. But still, he didn't try to stop him. That is the ideal Kshatriya. Not like today's politician, oh, this person is planning against me, so I will just stamp him out. I will, kill him. No. He accepted whatever is coming by the will of the Lord. So this is very important. When we have spiritual wisdom, when we are cleaning our mind every day by taking shelter of Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, Srimad Bhagavatam, then we can see things as they are. We can go through ups and downs of the life without getting frustrated, without resorting to the dubious means. And Bhishma is showing by his personal example. So now, Vichitra Virya, although he was about to be married, he married Ambika and Ambalika. He didn't marry Amba, Amba was gone. And he was supposed to beget children from Ambika and Ambalika. But it so happened that Vichitravirya got sick and he died. Now there were no children. There was no heir in the family. It was an emergency because, Vichitravirya was dead, no sons, and Bhishma had taken a vow of celibacy. Satyavati, she approached Bhishma. She told, oh Bhishma, now it is an emergency. Now you please marry and beget children. You took vow to please your father, but now it is an emergency time. Now you have to give up your vow and get married. Bhishma said, I can't do it. This is my vow that in no circumstance I will marry. That was my vow. I cannot change my vow. We will think of something. Satyavati, she said, but please think of the kingdom, please think of the citizens. Bhishma, he said, he had all the justification to give up his vow. You know, nobody would have said anything if he would have given up his vow. It was a dire need of the situation. This is very interesting. When it comes to following the spiritual principles, when it comes to following the rules and regulations, when it comes to following our vows we have taken in the spiritual life, so many temptations will come. Many times it becomes so very difficult. We have all the justifications, all the reasons why I cannot follow these principles. Bhishma, he was very firm. His resolutions were like the lines on stone. He had faith. He had faith that if he sticks to the resolutions, Krishna will come for help. God will help. In our journey towards spiritual life, even though we may be faced with so many temptations, so many of the obstacles, we may have every reason why I should not follow this. I will do it later, not now. If we continue to follow our vows, if we continue to follow our principles, for sure Krishna will help. Our faith and our determination is the most important quality in the spiritual life. That is what is described in the scriptures also. Utsaha, Nishchay, and Dhairya. These three qualities are important. It all begins with Shraddha. It all begins with faith. How much faith we have in the scriptures, how much enthusiasm we have, how much determination we have, it all matters. And faith does not mean blind faith. The faith in the scriptures is a reasonable faith, not blind faith. And based on our faith, Krishna, he gives us direction. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. तेषामेवानुकम्पार्थम् अहमज्ञानजं तमः नाशयामि आत्मभावस्थो ज्ञानदीपेन भास्वता. Krishna says to Arjuna, "Oh Arjun, I give my special mercy to my devotee. I destroy the ignorance which is there in the heart of my devotee by the light of knowledge." So Krishna is there ready to help us. Only thing we have to do is we have to be very, very strong. Many times faith does not make sense, but it makes miracles. So Bhishma, he had such unflinching faith in God that he did not deter from his vow. You know, in Vedic times, begetting son was a very, very important part to continue the dynasty. And Satyavati was so very, frantic. She was really disturbed how the dynasty will continue. So she told Bhishma, "Oh Bhishma, if you don't want to marry, don't marry. But you beget child from the wives of Vichitravirya." In Vedic society, again we have to understand, it may look immoral in present context. But we have to understand that in the Vedic culture, the primary focus was not on sexual enjoyment. Primary focus was to beget a good progeny, to continue the dynasty, because a king is required to maintain the scriptural rules and regulations, to maintain dharma. So therefore, Satyavati, she requested Bhishma, "If you don't want to marry, no problem. Just beget progeny from Ambika and Ambalika." Bhishma said, "No, I can do that also. I have taken a vow not just of marrying, but of complete celibacy." Satyavati, she became very disappointed. In that desperate situation, she remembered something. She told Bhishma, "Today I will reveal you a secret. Nobody in the entire dynasty knows this. When I was not married, before marrying Shantanu, your father, my duty was, I was the daughter of a Matsya king, and my duty was to take the travelers from one side of Ganga to other. And many times the sages would also come. So my father had given me this seva, that you take the sages from this side of the Ganga to other, help them, serve them." And I was doing that seva. One day, Parashar Muni came, and Parashar Muni, he was, I was doing this service of taking him across the Ganga, and ultimately he requested me to beget child. Many times this incident is very much misunderstood. Some people say, "Oh, Parashar Muni got agitated seeing the beauty, seeing her bodily features, and then he, united with Satyavati to enjoy his carnal desires, to satisfy his carnal desires." No, this is a very, very distorted understanding of the whole situation. We have to understand, first of all, who was Parashar Muni? Parashar Muni was not an ordinary sage. He was one of the greatest of the sages. He was the prime person who had written the principles of astrology. The famous verse we know, the definition of God, Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yasha shriya jnana vairagyayashchaiva sannam bhaga itingana. The definition of God is He is a reservoir of the six opulences: all wealth, all beauty, fame, knowledge, strength, and renunciation. This definition is given by Parashar Muni. So Parashar Muni is not an ordinary lusty personality when and he got who got agitated seeing the bodily features of this lady. You have to understand there are some auspicious and some inauspicious times. If things are done in auspicious times, they give good results. Otherwise, they do not give right results. Someone may question, how I don't believe all this. But we have to understand when we see things around the world, in the world, when we see, we'll understand that everything in the universe is a closely interconnected network. Nothing happens haphazardly. All our actions are witnessed, all our results are given according to our actions. So, therefore, whatever action we do, at what time we get the result accordingly. For example, farming is a well refined science. Farmers, they know what time is best to sow the crops, sow the seeds, to water the crops, and that's how they get the good crop. If farmer doesn't do right things at the right time, he will not get the right results. Similarly, just as farming is not just an activity between the farmer and the field, there are many other factors which are involved. There is some supernatural power, the forces of nature, they are also equally important. Similarly, act of procreation is not just an activity between male and female. At what consciousness, at what time, in what consciousness it is done, decides our progeny. It should not be done just to satisfy our sensual desires. This act of procreation should be done taking proper time and proper circumstances into consideration. If if somebody wants to beget a good, pious, religious child, and that is called Garbhadhan Sanskar. Our scriptures they describe the story of Diti and Kashyapa. Diti, she approached Kashyap Muni at wrong time for procreation. And the result was the greatest of the demons were born, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. So therefore, Parashar Muni, he knew the science very well. Seeing the astronomical calculations and celestial formations, he could understand that Supreme Lord wants to take birth at this moment. So he told Satyavati that Supreme Lord desires to be born in this world, and if you help in bringing the Lord in this world, you will be glorious, you will be rewarded. Satyavati, she was shocked. She said, how can I do this? I am unmarried, I am virgin girl, and what will my parents say? I'll lose my chastity. Parashar Muni, he said, I assure you, I guarantee you, you will not lose your virginity. And because you will become the instrument to bring the fragrance of the spiritual knowledge in this world, because the son who will be born, he will be the literary incarnation of God. He will write all the scriptures. He will dispel the darkness of ignorance from the hearts of people. So if you help uh, to bring Supreme Lord who is going to spread the fragrance of spiritual knowledge, your body will also become fragrant. So Satyavati ultimately, earlier she was known as Matsya Gandha because her body would smell like fish. Fishy smell would come from her body because she was involved in all this fishing thing. So she agreed And this Parashar Muni, he created an island in middle of the river and created a fog and impregnated Satyavati. Immediately, a child was born, and immediately the child became a young personality. That was Krishna Dvaipayan Vyas. And we can see from the results, Falena Parichiyate, as it is said. If you can see, oh, the result is good, that means the action must be right. There was a great, Western rock star. He said, in current situation, especially in the Western world, he said, what can you speak of the society when most of the children are born on the Saturday night under the influence of alcohol? So, in what consciousness we beget children, we attract that type of personality. And just by this action, we can see who was Vyasadev, the greatest of the personalities. So, we can definitely say that Parashar Muni was not lusty, he was not overwhelmed, influenced by the carnal desires, not thinking of the place, not thinking who is the person. No, he was a very refined gentleman, a great sage. He knew the purpose of God. So that's how Vyasdev was born. And Vyasdev, immediately he became a young personality, and as he was going, he immediately left. As he was going, he told uh, his mother, Satyavati, if you need me anytime in the future, please just remember me, I'll come. So Satyavati told all this to Bhishma. And she said, if you think so, I can call Vyasdev. Bhishma, he became so very happy. He said, please, it will be our great fortune if we can get Vyasdev. And if he begets children from the wives of Vichitravirya, because Vyasdev is like the brother of Vichitravirya, he can beget children from the wives of Vichitravirya. So Bhishma was very happy, and then Satyavati, she remembered Vyasdev, and immediately Vyasdev appeared. Satyavati, she she told the whole situation to Vyasdev. Vyasdev told, give me some time, because, give me 1 month, because I am coming from forest. I was doing all this intense tapasya. So please give me some time, because now I am not in a very good shape, good condition. I am all unclean and all big hairs, jata. So these ladies, they may not like it. Satyavati, she said, no, it is emergency. You have to do it now. So Vyasdev agreed, okay, so be it, whatever you say. So Satyavati, she went and told Amba and Ambika and Ambalika that, your husband's brother is coming to beget children. So they were thinking Bhishma will come. But when they saw this uh, sage coming with all his matted hair and all his unclean body, you know, first Ambika, Vyasdev went into the chamber of Ambika. When Ambika she saw, she became completely bewildered. She closed her eyes. And in that situation, Vyasdev, he procreated and he came out. Satyavati, she was there. So Vyasdev, he told that actually, because Ambika, she closed her eyes, so the child will be born blind. Satyavati was shocked. How can a blind person can become a king? You please go and beget child from Ambalika again. So by that time, Ambika had told Ambalika, so she was prepared. But when Vyasdev entered, Ambika, she became completely pale. And of course, again, Vyasdev begot a child, came back and told, because this Ambalika, she became pale, the child will be born with a pale complexion. That's how this Pandu means pale complexion. So Satyavati, she said, uh, okay, but can you please beget one more child? Because she was thinking that my two sons, Vichitravir is dead, Chitrangad is dead. So what if these two children, something happens to them? Who will continue the dynasty? So again, on the request of Satyavati, again Vyasdev went inside, but this time the Ambika and Ambalika, put they sent a maid servant, and because this maid servant, she served Vyasdev very nicely. She was in a very wonderful consciousness. Vyasdev, he begot a child, and that was Vidura. So we can see, from this situation, that because Bhishma was such strong in his conviction, he had such faith, all the arrangement was made. So in our spiritual journey, this faith is a very, very important ingredient. Whatever may happen, I will continue, I will follow my vows, I will stick to the principles, I will read Bhagavad Gita. That should be our determination. And if we have such determination, then we can continue and will receive mercy of the Lord. So that is what we can learn from Bhishma. That's why Bhishma is called as Mahajan. So we'll stop here now. We'll continue next time. So if anybody has any questions, you can please ask.
Thank you, Prabhuji. It was a wonderful class. I just have a question, Prabhuji, that you said, I, I don't know if it's appropriate, but you said Bhishma took the vows so that he could avoid any conflicts between his sons and the other sons. But there was still conflict between the Kauravas and the Pandavas, so he was not able to avoid the conflict totally.
Yeah.
You can
So
throw some.
actually, yes, yes, yes. Yeah, very correct. Because although Bhishma, he dedicated his life to serve the ruling king, and that's how he was thinking. If I just keep serving the ruling king, there will be no conflict. But many times, even if we try our best, things do not go according to our expectations, our plans. That's what happened with the Bhishma. Bhishma had all the plans ready. He was thinking, if I will not marry and if I just help the ruling king, then for sure there'll be no conflict. But this is what scriptures they tell us. We have our plans, but it is said, like very famous, man proposes, God disposes. So the plans were ready, but still things did not go according to the plan. But still, although there were conflicts between Pandavas and the Kauravas, but we'll see throughout Mahabharata, Bhishma Dev, he was trying again and again to resolve the conflicts. He always wanted that Pandavas and Kauravas, they should live together happily, and Kauravas, they should serve the Pandavas because Pandavas were elder. So yes, of course, he tried his best, but the nature of the world is like that only. But Bhishma, he did not give up his service. Bhishma, he did not tell, oh, I tried my best, I cannot do anything. No, he persisted till the last breath. So that is what we can see in the life of Bhishma. He was very much strong, very much steady in his principles, in his determination, in his service to God. And that's what we'll see in the next class, how even though his reputation was at stake, but still he did not care about it. He was just focused on serving God. He was focused on serving Krishna in the mode of devotion. And that's what he did throughout his life. So that's what we can learn from Bhishma.
So, Prabhuji, since you spoke about reputation, how important should it be that our reputation should not be maligned, or and this may be between a right and a wrong. It's our reputation and service to Krishna. So sometimes we are in that dilemma,
Yeah,
Prabhuji.
so basically, when we are talking about Bhishma, Bhishma is a great devotee, is called Mahajan. He is directly connected to God. He gets all the instructions. It is revealed in his heart. Although we may not see any apparent dialogue which goes on between the between Bhishma and Krishna, that you have to be on the side of Kauravas, but because he is a Mahajan, he knows the heart of Krishna, and he is executing that very nicely. But when it comes to people like us who are in the material world trying to come close to God, there is no confusion for us. For a devotee, it is very very important that the reputation is saved. Reputation is very very, you know, spotless. Because if devotees they don't have good reputation, if we don't have good name in the society, then naturally people will think of this person is a spiritualist and he is not following the rules and regulations. And nowhere Krishna says that you should give up the rules and regulations. Nowhere Krishna says that you have to give away all the scriptures to do devotional service. That is a very, very important understanding we should have. Because who is Krishna? Krishna is the embodiment of Dharma. Dharma, what is that? There's a verse in Bhagavatam which says uh, that scriptures and religion is coming directly from God. You know, so therefore, Krishna is the protector of religion, and he will never put us in a situation where we have to do something sinful. It requires maturity, it requires the knowledge of the scriptures to understand the right way, right course of action. And if we are bewildered, if we are not able to understand what is the right thing, just approach some superior personality, some learned personality, and they may help you how to be sinless at the same time continue service to God, service to Krishna, following the scriptural rules and regulations, and following devotional service. So, therefore, whenever some difficult situations come in life, and it may seem that, oh, if I do this, then I'll have to compromise on my devotional service or my spiritual principles. Or if I stick to my spiritual principles, I may have to do something sinful. That cannot be possible, because scriptures and devotional service, they are completely uh, in harmony. Scriptures will never say that you do some sinful activity to come close to Krishna or come close to God. If somebody has this conception, that means their understanding is not so proper. So because if somebody says, you know, just like if Krishna tells that I am telling you, you have to kill your son, what will you do? You know, if Krishna is saying it, so what will you do? So somebody may say, no, this is Dharma Sankat. Krishna is telling me to kill my child. So how can I do that? But answer is actually Krishna will never say that. Because Krishna is embodiment of religion. Religion is coming from God. He can never say that. It is just a hypothetical question to think that, oh, Krishna will tell us to do something sinful. It will never happen. So only thing which is required is to keep our mind focused on serving God, purify our intelligence by reading scriptures, purify our mind by chanting the names of God, you know, purify our body by tasting, eating the prasad, purify our false ego by coming in association with the devotees. That will help us in the long run. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Uh, Prabhuji, also how
Hare Krishna.
official and recommended it is to take vows, and what would happen if we break our vow, if we can't fulfill the vow?
See, everybody. Okay, okay. So, see, basically, in scriptural, in the spiritual life, everybody has to take some vow
Yes, Prabhuji.
according to our level. You know, according to our level of realization, according to our level of understanding, we have to take some vow to advance in the spiritual life. And for that matter, that is the case everywhere. Even if we are doing something in the material world, people they are very much determined.
Yes.
I have to do this, I have to be successful. So the same things is they are applied in the spiritual life also. And if we are not able to follow our vows, we don't have to get depressed, we don't have to become sad. Only thing we have to do is just again get up and walk. You have seen small child when they are learning to walk,
Yes.
with every few steps they may fall down, but they don't just lie down there, they again get up and walk you know so in our spiritual life we are like also toddlers, just started walking in this path since few years, 10 years maybe, 15 years maybe, but the journey is very long. We are like toddlers, we may fall down till the time we don't develop that strength. But what do we have to do? Again get up and walk. There is a very nice verse which says, Bhumau skhalit padanam bhumau eva valambanam toi jata paradhanam tameva sharanam prabhu. So this verse says, if somebody falls down on the ground, he takes shelter of the same ground to get up and walk. Similarly, when we are doing our spiritual practices, we are not able to follow, we may, fall down from our vows. Just again get up, take shelter of the same vows, and continue. That is what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also. My devotee, he is never destroyed. Kaunteya pratijani name bhakta pranashyati. So very soon, very quickly, because the prime motive of a devotee is I want to serve God. I want to serve Krishna. And because of my previous conditionings, previous bad habits, I may not be able to follow the rules and regulations. But that does not matter. I will try my best. The attitude of a devotee is, if he does something wrong, if he does something sinful, if he is not able to follow the vows, he repents. He or she repents sincerely. Oh my Lord, I am not able to follow this. I want to do it, but somehow or other, I am not able to follow. Please help me. He continues, that devotee continues to practice Krishna consciousness. There is a very famous verse in Bhagavatam. It comes in the 11th canto, where Krishna himself is telling to Uddhava. He says, "O Uddhava, my devotee, his faith has become strong in my pastimes. Jata shraddho matkathasu." And he knows that all this worldly pleasure, this is not of much use, because ultimately it gives distress. But somehow, even though I know it, still I engage in that. Then what does my devotee do? That is very important. Tato bhajet mam prita shraddhalu drid nischayah jushamanascha tan kaman dukkho darkam shagarhayan. So this is a very, very important and very, very hope giving verse describing our situation. What should we do when we are not able to follow our vows? Tato bhajet. Tato bhajet means we should continue serving Krishna with love, Shraddha and Dridha Nishchay, with determination, with faith. All the while, what we should do, we should repent. Garhayan means we should repent. That is a job of Maya. That is job of material energy. Material energy will make us feel that, oh, I think I am not suited for this path. It is a too high path for me to follow. So that is the job of material nature. And what we have to do, we have to keep trying our best, always remembering Krishna, always depending on the scriptural injunctions, and based on that we will develop strength in due course of time. Okay.
Thank, thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji. Prabhuji, do you have time for another question or should we end the session, Prabhuji?
Yeah, we can take one.
Okay. Prabhuji, to be grateful about our problems, we keep hearing that, that even when the problems come, we should be grateful in those times. So if you can throw some
Yeah.
more light, what what that really means.
Okay. Yeah, this is a very important and wonderful question. How to be grateful? We can be grateful for good things. How can we be grateful for the problems which are coming in our life? This looks very, contradictory. So, the philosophy and the scriptures, they are very much clear about it. Why one should be grateful when problem comes. Uh, there is a verse which comes in the Srimad Bhagavatam where Brahmaji is telling Krishna, oh Krishna, a devotee, he is always grateful for whatever problems are coming in his life because he knows that I deserved much more. But because you are directly intervening in my life, I am getting much less. And the famous example is given if somebody is working in the kitchen and a finger gets cut little bit. A devotee, what is his thought process? What is his consciousness? He thinks, oh, my karma was that bad that I was about to just, suffer much more. My whole hand was about to get cut. But Krishna is merciful and he has given me just a token reaction. This is not just a thought process. Scriptures tell again and again. Just like if you roast seeds and you sow them in the ground, the seeds won't grow. That is a common natural phenomena. Similarly, we may have done something wrong in the past life. They are like the seeds about to sprout, about to manifest the reaction. But when we come under the purview of Krishna consciousness, it is like roasting that seed, and therefore we don't get the reaction, or we get just a token reaction. Because that is a wonderful nature of Krishna consciousness. All the other paths depend on their own strength, but a devotee depends on Krishna. Krishna personally intervenes in the life of a devotee and takes care of him very nicely. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. I provide what my devotee lacks and I protect what they have. Yogakshemam vahamyaham. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nitya abhyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. So therefore, this is a proper understanding of a spiritualist, especially when we are coming under the purview of Krishna. God is there situated in the heart of everyone, but a person who is not taking shelter of God, he is like a neutral observer, keeps recording all the things which we are doing. But when we start serving him, he is not a neutral person. He is very actively engaged in helping us to come out of this bad situation, come out of the problems, and come close to him. This is the foundation of gratitude. In fact, gratitude is not a part of spiritual life. Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he says that gratitude is spiritual life. Gratitude is devotion. So we have to be grateful for whatever we are getting. The opportunity to understand scriptures, opportunity to come close and associate with the devotees, that is a rare fortune. Opportunity to chant the names of God, that is a rare fortune, which is not available to many. So, therefore, this is how we have to be grateful for the problems, for the sufferings, for the good things which are coming in our life. Okay, and that's what Kunti Maharani she prays. Actually, she prays even much more. Kunti Maharani, she goes one step ahead. She tells, "Oh my Lord, so many problems came in my life, but I want more problems." I hope none of us can pray like that. We are already sufficiently, convinced. Bas ho gaya itna. But she's praying, I want more because you know what? She says, if I will go through problems, you will come and help us. You will come and save us. We will get to have your darshan. That is a very, very, very high level of consciousness. At our level, what we have to do, just tolerate and be grateful. So these two things are very important. Tolerance and gratitude. This is what a devotee is. This is what a spiritualist is. Tolerating the suffering and be grateful for whatever is coming. Okay, so that is the right understanding.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class. Looking forward for the next week, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you very much for giving me opportunity to speak something about Bhishma. So we'll meet next Wednesday. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.